our buddy Charlie the Bacon Guy brings up a good question. Does this elongated injury period hurt Patrick Kane's trade value? And I think that's a conversation we need to have, because if you're the Rangers or Oilers or whoever, you're looking at this and saying, he's missed, 3-4 games now?
This will be game 3.
Am I willing to give up a first and a top prospect for what could be damaged goods? And it's, again, we don't think it's anything serious. I really don't, and you guys really don't. But if you're a GM and your Stanley Cup, aspirations are hinged on possibly trading for Patrick Kane, truthfully, your future is, because you're giving up a first and probably a prospect. That's a lot to give up for a guy you're not sure is going to be 100%, 90%, 85%. Right. At what point do you set that limit and say, no, I'm not doing this, it's too risky?
Yeah, I know a lot of people and a lot of organizations probably would be okay with saying, hey, 85% of Patrick Kane is better than a lot of other guys that we could have on our roster.
Oh, yeah.
But is it 85% of Patrick Kane with the potential that he's screws something up and it's 0% of Patrick Kane? I think even if this is minor, there's still that little question now that wasn't there before that, NHL GMs can maybe have pop in their head and think about, maybe think twice. Maybe, if it's New York or if it's Edmonton or if it's Colorado, like Colorado's dealing with their own fair share of injuries to worry about. I don't know if, bringing in Patrick Kane, who may or may not be playing through an injury, is something that they'd want to, add to the fire. So I think it's definitely bringing up the question. I mean, it's not the same, but kind of similar. Like, look at the hell's happening with Carlos Correa in the MLB. Like, he's had to go through 3 different teams and go through physicals, and teams had to be sure about him, and they weren't. So now if Patrick Kane is got that doubt, I think there are teams that may back off, and other teams that might come up that we haven't been talking about that might be like, you know what, we're further away than we like to be, but we're not going to be players in the big market. Maybe if other teams aren't going to be going after Patrick Kane as hard as they were eventually, maybe another team swoops in that we're not thinking about and says, hey, you know what? We'll take the flyer on 80% Patrick Kane and see what happens.
Yeah, but the worry there is you get 80% of the value back, right?
If he says he wants to go, then Kyle Davidson, without saying it, has made it pretty clear that I think he would like to get rid of Patrick Kane to bring in as many assets as possible. And if Kane says, I want to go, that's going to be very public.
Yeah.
And that's going to be, then the ball is in Kyle Davidson's court.
Never rule out, all your points about the injury could affect value are very valid. Never rule out the fact that there are GMs out there that want to just get the headline that I traded for Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
They won't necessarily be like, hey, he's only 85%. They just want to be like, hey, this is going to look really good. My job is kind of in jeopardy and pulling off a deal to get a superstar.
You can't say I didn't go for it.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Like, hey, sure. I got the guy you guys all wanted. Not my fault his leg fell off 2 days later.
Right.
So, there are guys that just want to shoot.
What's Peter Mrazek's groin doing here?
There are guys that want to shoot their shot and just, a guy like Ken Holland is desperate for something. That guy. I don't know. I'm not in tune. I don't listen to the Chud enough to know what exactly is going on. But I have to imagine Ken Holland's seat is not room temperature.
It's toasty.
No,
he's got to make something. He's got a generational talent and another guy that's just below generational talent, and they haven't won squat. And they're wasting
fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah. And hey, the last time he traded for a guy named Kane, it went pretty well for them, at least for the rest of that season.
Sure.
So, he's got to be a guy that's going, I don't really care if he's healthy or not. I just need something. Trading for Patrick Kane in Edmonton, that would be a huge deal for him.
Yeah, so they can lose games 9-8 instead.
Right now,
that's not my problem.
Yeah,
I don't have to cover that team.
The Oilers are clinging to the final wild card spot,
right ahead of the Avalanche, who are getting
ahead
healthy.
Of St. Louis, who is a mystery, Nashville, Colorado, who will be getting healthier. Yeah, they're all right on their heels, and this might be a situation too where Ken Holland and the Oilers want to do something sooner than later. They can't wait.
They can't wait to March 3rd.
Colorado's eventually going to get healthy.
Yeah.
And they're going to start to look like the team we saw last year. And again, we're going to get to that with Jesse at 3:00 today.
Well, here's another problem for the Oilers that, for a lot of the first month of the season, we're like, Vegas, this is just a fluke. They're for real.
No, Vegas is good.
Yeah.
Seattle,
Yep.
that's just a fluke. No, Seattle's good. They're for real. Those teams are in their division. That's why they're in the wild card. They're not going anywhere. So now they might be panic mode. And a general manager who's panicked and managing for his job makes a very tasty trade target when you're on the other side.
Absolutely.
Desperation gets you a whole lot more than non-desperation.
But he's got to agree. He's got to agree to go.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
Of course.